Hello, bonjour et bienvenue sur French Tutorial with Dora. Hello, welcome to French Tutorial with Dora. Today, we want to learn conjugation of verbs in French. Conjugation of verbs in French. At the end of this lesson, you're going to learn the meaning of conjugation, what it means to conjugate a verb, how to conjugate some irregular verbs, and to make simple sentences with some irregular verbs. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to understand conjugation very well. You'll be able to conjugate some irregular verbs, and also you'll be able to make simple sentences with some irregular verbs in French language. All right, but before we go on, I want to ask you, have you subscribed to this channel? If you haven't done so, what are you waiting for? Please hit that button and subscribe to this channel so that anytime I have more videos for you, you will get the notification immediately. All right, so let's continue. On y va. La conjugaison, that's what it is called in French. La conjugaison, conjugation in English. What is conjugation? Conjugation simply means putting the verb in the right form in the sentence. What did I say? Conjugation simply means putting the verbs in the right form in the sentences. Okay? To conjugate a verb, you know when you have the verb in the dictionary in its infinitive form. The words you see in the dictionary are in their basic form, the form we call the infinitive form. And for you to use these words, these verbs, you have to consider certain things before you'll be able to use them. You can't just take them from the dictionary and you start using them in the sentence exactly the way they appear. No. For instance, the verb go or the verb to go. If I want to talk about the present tense, I will say, I am going. Present continuous, I go every day. So, these are some of the things you need to consider before you use the verb in the sentence correctly. Otherwise, you'll be committing some grammatical errors. There are factors, like I said, that you need to consider before you will choose the correct form the verb will take in that sentence, okay? The first is the person. You need to consider the person. And when I mean person, I mean either the noun or the pronoun, okay? Consider the time, which is the tense. Is it present tense? Am I talking about now? Am I talking about past tense or future? For instance, again, the verb to go. If I'm talking about the future, I will say I will go instead of, I can't say I go tomorrow. I will go tomorrow. You also consider the number of persons. Is it one person, singular, or plural? So in the singular, the verb can take another form, and in the plural, it can also take another form. The verb to go in the third person singular will be he goes, she goes. But in the plural, they go. So you see, in French, it's more dynamic. In French, it's not that regular like in English. In the English language, the changes occur in the third person most times. But in French, you can start from the very first person to the last person. So that's why we need to take our time to learn how this happens in French, so that when you start making your simple sentences in French language, you will get them correctly. So one more factor we need to also consider is the mode of the verb. What is the mode? Is it indicative? Is it declaring something? Is it asserting something? Or is it imperative? Is it a command or conditional statement? Or is it a subjunctive? That is when you express some uncertainties, doubts, and all that. So these are the factors one needs to consider before you be able to choose the correct form of the verb and use them correctly in the sentence. Okay, this is what conjugation is all about. This is what conjugation is all about. So my dear students, any other time you hear conjugate so and so verb, you just know that you're being asked to choose the correct form the verb will take in the sentence. So you consider, is it present tense, is it past tense, or which person is involved, is it the first person pronoun, the second person pronoun, and so on and so forth. That's conjugation. It's very simple. All right, so understood? Yeah, now so we go to conjugate some of these irregular verbs in French. Before we go to conjugate these verbs, I want to tell you that in terms of conjugation, these verbs have been grouped into two major groups. They've been categorized into two. All right, we have the regular and the irregular verbs. So as the name implies, the regular verbs are those verbs that take a regular pattern while you're conjugating them. They take a regular pattern. You can determine, once you learn the pattern, you can apply it to other verbs that belong to the same group with that verb. But the irregular verbs do not take a regular pattern. They can change. So you can't apply the same form to any other group. So what do we do with irregular verbs? We learn them by heart. You have to memorize them individually, learn how to conjugate them. But irregular verbs, you can learn the pattern, and any verb that belongs to that group, you can apply it and get the conjugation correctly. For example, we have the verb, some irregular verbs here. We have the verb avoir, être, faire, aller. These are irregular verbs. We're going to conjugate them very shortly. And we have some regular verbs. I listed the ER verbs. These ones are regular. They all end in ER, and when you conjugate them, they take a regular pattern. We're going to meet that very soon, but in another video. You see why you have to subscribe to this channel, so you won't miss any of those important lessons when it comes to French grammar. Okay, so we have the verb donner, parler, habiter, and aimer. These are regular verbs that belong to ER verbs. So now let's go on and conjugate some of these irregular verbs. And the first one I'll conjugate for you is the verb être. The verb être, that's the verb to be, être. Très bien. And in the first person, it takes suis. So, je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. Let me go through it again. Je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. This is the verb to be in the present tense, être. And this simply means I am, you are. He is, she is, it is, we are, you are, they are, they are. Okay? Good. So let's look at some expressions with this verb être. We have je suis professeur. Je suis professeur. I'm a teacher. Tu es ma sœur. You're my sister. Tu es ma sœur. Il est journaliste. Il est journaliste. He is a journalist. Nous sommes des amis. Nous sommes des amis. We are friends. Vous êtes gentil. Vous êtes gentil. You're kind. Elles sont jolies. Elles sont jolies. They are beautiful. Okay, so I hope you've learned simple expressions with this verb to be, the verb être. Go through them again. Je suis professeur. Tu es ma sœur. Il est journaliste. Nous sommes des amis. Vous êtes gentille. Elles sont jolies. They are beautiful. Okay, let's look at another irregular verb. And this time around, we're going to see the verb avoir. The verb avoir, that's the verb to have. The verb you use to express having something or, possessing something. J'ai. Tu as. Il a. Elle a. Nous avons. Vous avez. Ils ont. Elles ont. I'll read it again. The verb avoir, which is the verb to have. J'ai. Tu as. Il a. Elle a. Nous avons. Vous avez. Ils ont. Elles ont. Très bien. That's the verb to have. I have. You have. He has. She has. It has. We have. You have. They have. Masculine, feminine. So let's look at some of these expressions with the verb avoir. I have the first one. J'ai une voiture. I have a car. J'ai une voiture. I have a car. Tu as un chat? You have a cat. Tu as un chat? You have a cat. Il a 12 ans. He is 12 years. Il a 12 ans. Nous avons 2 maisons. We have 2 houses. Nous avons 2 maisons. We have 2 houses. Vous avez un sac rouge. Vous avez un sac rouge. You have a red bag. And the last one, elles ont des bijoux. They have jewelries. Elles ont des bijoux. They have jewelries. So I hope you can go through that again so you'll be able to make these simple expressions with the verb avoir. I can just take it for you for the last time. J'ai une voiture. Tu as un chat? Il a 12 ans. Nous avons 2 maisons. Vous avez un sac rouge. Elles ont des bijoux. Très bien. Okay, let's go to the third one, which is the verb aller. The verb aller is a verb to go. All right? It's a very common verb you use in everyday life. The verb aller, the verb to go. So we have je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont. The verb aller, that's the verb to go. And don't forget we are conjugating in the present indicative. So this means I go, je vais, or I am going. So it can be I go or I am going. Je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, he goes, she goes, nous allons, we are going or we go. Vous allez, you go or you are going. Ils vont, elles vont. Très bien. Okay, so let's look at some of the expressions that go with the verb aller. Je vais à l'école. I'm going to school. Je vais à l'école. I'm going to school. Tu vas au marché. You're going to the market. Tu vas au marché. You're going to the markets. Il va à l'église. He's going to church. Il va à l'église. He's going to church or he goes to church. You can take both. Nous allons chez mon oncle. Nous allons chez mon oncle. We are going to my uncle's house. Nous allons chez mon oncle. Vous allez bien? This one you hear every day. Vous allez bien? Are you okay? Vous allez bien? Are you okay? Elles vont à la bibliothèque. Elles vont à la bibliothèque. They are going to the library. Elles vont à la bibliothèque. Okay, so let's look at the last verb that we have. The verb faire. It's another irregular verb. Faire. Verb faire is the verb to make. So I'll take the last of these irregular verbs I have for you today. The verb faire. And the verb faire, je fais, tu fais, il fait, elle fait, nous faisons, vous faites, ils font, elles font. This is the verb to make or the verb to do. Je fais, tu fais, il fait, elle fait, nous faisons, vous faites, ils font, elles font. And let's look at some expressions with this verb faire. So we have, je fais mes études au Nigeria. Je fais mes études au Nigeria. I am studying in Nigeria. So, je fais mes études au Nigeria. I'm studying in Nigeria. Tu fais tes devoirs. You're doing your homework or your assignments. Elle fait la cuisine. Elle fait la cuisine. She's cooking. Yes, that is the expression. When you want to say that someone is cooking, he or she. Il fait la cuisine. Elle fait la cuisine. Très bien. Nous faisons la vaisselle. Nous faisons la vaisselle. Nous faisons la vaisselle. Très bien. Vous faites le lit. Vous faites le lit. Ils font leur prière. Ils font leur prière. That they are saying their prayer. To say the prayer in French, you say, je fais la prière. So you can see that these expressions, some of them are not exactly the way they are said in English. So don't bother yourself about analyzing how this one became, she is cooking. Elle fait la cuisine. Please just take it that this is the French way of saying these things, okay? Merci. So now I have some pictures of these expressions so you'll be able to, have them before you. You can see this is nous faisons la vaisselle. And what does that mean? They are washing plates. You can see. So we, plural, nous faisons la vaisselle. We are washing plates. Je vais à l'école. I'm going to school. J'ai une voiture. I have a car. J'ai une voiture. I have a car. Tu fais tes devoirs. You're doing your homework. Tu fais tes devoirs. Elle fait la cuisine. You can see she's cooking. Elle fait la cuisine. Tu as un chat? Tu as un chat? You have a cat. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed the lesson and you've been able to learn how to conjugate these irregular verbs in French. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please once again hit that button, and anytime I have another video, you in particular will be the first to be notified. So until I come your way again, what do we say when we are parting? Au revoir et à la prochaine. Au revoir, bye, see you next time. Au revoir et à la prochaine.